It's round 4 of the Brisbane Championship, and we have Alex up against Jacob. Either of these players would be in a fantastic position to lock down a top 4 spot with a win right here. It's our first Urshifu free match of the day. It's the Unstoppable Force ADP versus the Immovable Object, LucMetal. Alex is playing a different style of ADP than we're used to seeing, choosing to play the Bronzong line and Aurora Energy. The battle style is Bronzong, which can evolve from the team up Bronzor at the bottom of turn 1, allows Alex to move the metal energy attached to his Pokemon around however he likes. The Aurora energy Alex plays in this deck are also considered metal energy when attached to Pokemon, so Alex can move those around his Pokemon as well if he gets Bronzong into play. These energy cards give Alex the option of running a variety of tech attackers we wouldn't normally see in ADP. Rhyperior V's first attack does 80 damage for a fighting and 2 colorless energy, and discards an energy from the defending Pokemon. This can punish decks which are slow to put energy on board. Empoleon V's Swirling Slice attack will knock out any Pokemon weak to water after an Altered Creation GX, and can also slow down decks with ability Pokemon like Jirachi. Mewtwo and Mew GX and the Amazing Rare Zacian can also swing for huge damage when Alex needs it. Alex might need to prioritize big damage because his opponent is bringing LucMetal to this matchup. Cookie will be trying to shrug off Alex's powerful attacks with his LucMetal deck. This list is very close to the one we saw in round 3, but instead of the Aegis Slash and 4th Coding Energy, we see a 4th Zacian and 3rd Metal Goggles in this list. We likely won't see Zamazenta V play a large role here like we did in round 3, as Alex has no VMAX Pokemon in his deck for Zamazenta to wall. Cookie's plan here will probably be to use a quick Full Metal Wall GX from his LucMetal, hoping to rip some energy off Alex's board, and then repeatedly swinging with Brave Blade from his Zacian, which can blow up all of Alex's 1 and 2 prized Pokemon with a single hit. Alex doesn't play any way to remove tools in this matchup, meaning even after he uses Altered Creation GX, he won't be able to knock out Zacian and LucMetal with tools on them in one hit, which will force him to chase down 2 shots on these Pokemon. Taking extra prizes keeps this from being an uneven prize trade, however, as Alex will be able to win the game in as little as 4 attacks after an Altered Creation. Cookie will only need 3 attacks if Alex leaves a lot of 2 prized Pokemon lying around, but Alex might find a way to force Cookie into taking a 2-shot on a 3-prizer to slow the game down. I think we have some very interesting games coming up. Let's get into it. So we have both the players setting up for round 4. We have Alex on your left and Cookie on the right. Now this could be a pretty interesting matchup. We've got pretty much both variants of Zacian that are popular right now squaring off. We have the very fast attacky ADP versus the slower and defensive LucMetal Zacian. Players are cutting each other's decks and should be underway very shortly. We did see that dice roll to determine who goes first. I'm unsure who won that, but we will find out. Looks like Cookie is going to start Zacian. Zacian is pretty great for really building up solid hands very early with that Intrepid Sword ability. He doesn't run cards like Dedenne or Crobat or Professor's Research, so building up your hands slowly with Intrepid Sword is good, especially when you run slow supporters that guarantee you cards like Guzmahala. Looks like we'll have Alex going first. Plays Pokemon Communication for that Bronzong, putting that back in deck, taking a Bronzor with it. It's quite important to his setup to get that Bronzong out as quick as possible. Were he going second in this matchup, he could evolve straight into it thanks to the evolutionary advantage ability of the Bronzor. However, he will have to wait a turn, hoping to draw into that Bronzong next turn. Without that ability to evolve going first, you're left with a 50 hit point Bronzor, which is not the best. It won't really come into play in this matchup unless Cookie can swing with Steel Fist from LucMetal. But there are instances where you might not want to run that evolutionary advantage Bronzor. In an ADP deck, however, you really want to get that turn 1 Altered Creation off if you can. Really put your opponent on the back foot. So Alex attaches Aurora Energy here to his Mewtwo and Mew. So a turn 2 Altered Creation is certainly on the cards for him if he manages to find another energy and the ADP. Action on Cookie now, he gets the LucMetal into play. He's Guzma-Halaring, he will take Coding Energy, Toughness Cape, and I think we'll see a Swell, or no, we'll see the Power Plant come into play. A Power Plant will shut off Mewtwo and Mew's abilities very early here, meaning Alex might be forced to go for an Altered Creation in a different way. So you see the cards that Cookie takes off the Guzma-Hala immediately hit the board, and he'll follow up with a Intrepid Sword to end his turn. So back onto Alex now. That Mewtwo and Mew's Perfection ability is being shut off by the Power Plant. And we see a Professor's Research here, hoping to draw into some cards here. Finds the ADP. If he were to find the Bronzong, perhaps with that Crobat in his hand, he would be able to retreat the Mewtwo Mew, move the energy onto the ADP, and he would be able to use that Altered Creation attack without really losing any tempo to that Power Plant. Alex here looking for ways to thin his hand down a bit, just so that Crobat can draw a couple more cards. At this point he'll be Crobatting for 2, and he does do that. It's not the best Crobat ever, but he does find the communication, so he'll be able to shuffle one of his Pokemon back into his deck. Chooses to go with that Mewtwo. Be able to get that Bronzong into play, and just like that, Alex will have the turn 2 Altered Creation, putting the pressure on Cookie to really get his attackers going and start swinging. So very fortunate to draw those off a Crobat to 2. You never want a Crobat for 2, but you see the very tricky retreat there from Alex. Just switching the places of the Mewtwo and the ADP, making sure to keep that tool on the Mewtwo, as Bronzong's a useful card, but it doesn't quite let you move tools, so that tool will be staying on the Mewtwo Mew. But see a very quick Altered Creation there. Back on Cookie now, and we will see a full Metal Wall, discarding both the Aurora energies off that ADP. So both players have used their GX attack, however, now it seems Alex is on the back foot, as he doesn't have any energy on board. He also doesn't have any metal energy in his discard pile for his metal sources, so it looks once again like he might be a little bit slow to get into this game. See a handful of energy off the money. We have metal energy and Aurora energy. He attaches Aurora energy to the ADP here, discarding the metal energy from his hand. Goes with the Intrepid Sword, and he gets a Metal Saucer off that, so Alex could be attacking with Ultimate Ray by next turn. Cookie, however, will be wanting to swing pretty hard this turn, and we see a Marnie from him, so Alex's Metal Saucer goes back into the deck, onto the bottom of the deck, and Alex's draw here isn't great. However, it doesn't look like Cookie can do very much with his hand, so we'll just see a Steel Fist for 50 damage here. That 50 damage does set the ADP up for a Brave Blade next turn. That Brave Blade from the Zacian will do 230 damage. And that will get Cookie 3 prizes and put him in a pretty good position to really get the ball rolling and close out this game 1. So it's Alex's turn, and we see a switch into the Mewtwo Mew. Alex trying to preserve that ADP. The Mewtwo can take a Brave Blade, however the ADP at this point cannot. So Alex wants to force Cookie to have a boss in order to get this KO. He really wants him to at least have to chase it down. See Metal Saucer. He's thinking over where to put this. It really doesn't matter as he can move all this energy at any time with his Mewtwo Mew. So Alex went from having no energy a few turns ago to having 3 on a Mewtwo Mew, and now he's going to be able to put much more on board with that Ultimate Ray. I think that's what we'll see, the Ultimate Ray for 150 here. The Ultimate Ray attack is boosted by the Altered Creation, however it is reduced by the Full Metal Wall, so it evens out. The attack does 150 damage. Minus the 20 actually from the resistance for the LucMetal. With the start of the Sword and Shield era, the resistance of most metal types was changed from Psychic to Grass, so while LucMetal does resist Psychic, Zacian V and Zamazenta do not. So that Mewtwo will still be getting good value against those cards. Cookie does have that boss in hand, however, so he also has a switch, so he doesn't even need to waste the energy on the LucMetal here. So a switch and a boss will allow him to get the Brave Blade KO on that ADP and really get him going here in this game 1. Slinging it over, however, he does have that tag call in hand, so even after taking this KO, he'd still have a decent hand to work with for the next turn. That Cape of Toughness also doing a very good job here of keeping that Zacian safe. Alex's own Zacian will be hitting for 260 with the Altered Creation buff. However, the Full Metal Wall debuff and the Cape of Toughness adding the HP means that Cookie's never in danger of being one-shot here. So Cookie instead decides to boss the Zacian V, knocking that out. He's considering that to be the greater threat. That ADP isn't going anywhere, so Cookie can always find a boss later to sort of hunt that one down. Alex's turn now. Alex can attack with the Ultimate Ray from the Mewtwo Mew here. Mewtwo Mew doesn't have quite too many targets in this deck to copy attacks from. You can copy the ADP's Ultimate Ray. That appears to mostly be what he'll be after in this matchup, but in terms of tech Pokemon, Alex is really steered towards V Pokemon. He runs that Rhyperior V and the Ditto V. He also runs the Empoleon V. The Empoleon isn't terribly useful in this matchup, however, as it doesn't hit as hard as any of his other Pokemon, and there are no non-rule box Pokemon with abilities for him to shut down. Alex taking his time, thinking it over. These are important turns in the middle of the game. He decides to put Metal Saucer onto the... moving that metal energy onto the Bronzong. And it looks like he'll be going for an Ultimate Ray again. Taking the rest of the metal energy out of his deck. So all those energy are on his Pokemon now. you'll really have to consider where he places these energy, as if Cookie has a boss's orders to take out this Bronzong, the energies will be stuck where they are, so you might want to place multiple energies on this Zacian. He does place one, and he has a metal energy in hand, so he can set up a Brave Blade for next turn. However, by the looks of Cookie's hand, Alex isn't in any danger of a boss play on that Bronzong. I think we might see a Mallow Lana come down. Mallow Lana will be able to heal that Zacian V. Has 150 damage on it, so the Mallow Lana would bring it down to 30. That would leave the Zacian with 240 hit points, which would still leave it out of range of any of Alex's attacks. This is basically a way for Cookie to pretty much buy a turn for free, as Alex will have attacked for effectively no value here, and the LucMetal comes in, and whether we see a Steel Fist or a Heavy Impact from it, it'll be setting up that Mewtwo Mew for a knockout. Maybe players are making sure the damage counts on the Pokemon are right, and I think we're just seeing that Steel Fist come down. Oh no, there's the fourth energy there that I somehow didn't see. So the Heavy Impact will be doing 150 damage to this Mewtwo Mew right here. So actually this is significant, as the LucMetal will be able to take the knockout on the Mewtwo Mew next turn, should nothing really change here. I imagine that Alex will want to preserve that Mewtwo, especially as he's able to move the energy however he likes, and he has that air balloon, meaning it can retreat for free. Just chooses to leave it in the active, going for, I believe, an Ultimate Ray. However, action is back on Cookie now, who's going to try and find another Pokemon so he can repeatedly use his Brave Blade attack here. He's only 2 attacks away from a win here. He will of course knock out the active Pokemon this turn with a Brave Blade. See that LucMetal come down. And we see the Cynthia Caitlyn take a Mallow Lana, so Cookie's preparing to switch next turn and attack once again. We see another Metal Saucer come down, so you might even have the option to retreat this LucMetal if it comes to it, if Alex manages to sort of boss it up out of desperation. However, Cookie's plan is most likely going to be Mallow Lana into the Dole and flush the Dole to the bottom of the deck and just swing with Brave Blade for a KO. All of Alex's Pokemon at this point will be knocked out by the Brave Blade, and seeing as Cookie only has 1 prize left, that'll be good enough to take game 1. It's hard to tell what Alex should do here. He would desperately love some hand disruption at this point, as Cookie has revealed that the Mallow Lana went to his hand by the Caitlyn Cynthia here. Alex says, "Nope, I'm done. Writing's on the wall here. I can't get out of this. You've taken game 1, so let's go to game 2. So despite how fast that ADP was with the setting up, it really fell to the end through some setup shots by Cookie's Pokemon there. Those Steel Fists, that 50 damage isn't a lot, but in the end it proved to be very valuable. Just setting up those Brave Blade KOs. So Cookie's response in this matchup can absolutely be just to knock out some 3 prizes to win the games. Even though Alex had put Crobat and Dudene on board, Cookie was just free to ignore those and get the extra value by taking the 3rd prize from those tag team Pokemon. Still have Stadium in play. There we go. So wondering how long it would take for the players to see that Chaotic Swell just sitting there, but Alex there reading my mind in the future. Make sure to pick that up. So he has a full 60 card deck for this game too. Believe Alex will be choosing to go first. Loses out on the ability to evolve his Bronzors once again, but by going first he's improving his odds of getting the Altered Creation off as soon as possible. Cookie doesn't play any evolving Pokemon in his deck, whereas Alex does play that Bronzong line, so Cookie probably would prefer to start first, especially if he can amass some resources with that Zacian V. Cookie's starting the Rhyperior in this matchup. Now the Rhyperior is obviously quite good against slow decks. It hits Eternatus for weakness and can sort of shrug that energy off, but even against other decks that only really attach one energy at a time, things like Urshifu Dragapult or Urshifu Cinccino, forcing your opponent to be a turn behind with the Rhyperior by discarding the energy, that can be valuable. And certainly in a matchup like this, Rhyperior is not an ideal attacker, but there may come a time where Alex wants to just remove an energy from Cookie's board. Cookie does have access to the Intrepid Sword and the Metal Saucer to get energy on board very quickly, but it can be slow to set up in the early game when you may not necessarily have access to those. So Alex puts the Metal Energy on the Rhyperior. Doesn't necessarily mean that he plans on attacking with it, it's just a safe spot to put energy until you get Bronzong into play. So now it's Cookie's turn. Alex finishes his turn without an Intrepid Sword, so he'll be stuck with the cards he has. Cookie, however, immediately hits a tag call for that Guzmahala. Chooses to discard a Metal Energy and a Cynthia Caitlin. So it looks like he'll be grabbing that Capture Energy to get a Zacian on board. Metal Goggles boosts LucMetal's defense here. Of course, the Power Plant shuts down the Mewtwo Mew play. Cookie goes for that Coding Energy initially, but decides against it to go for the Capture Energy. I think this is a good play. You want to get Zacian on board as quickly as possible. Plus, LucMetal doesn't mind having a colourless energy on it, as the Steel Fist and the Full Metal Wall are fine to use with one colourless energy on the Pokemon. If Cookie wants the full effect of Full Metal Wall, he will need a Metal Energy on his next turn. So we see that Intrepid Sword and action back on Alex now. Plays the Quick Ball, discarding an Air Balloon. Looks like he's going to communicate away whatever he gets with that. He just shows his first basic Pokemon to Cookie here, sort of completing that transaction. Gets the Bronzong on board. However, he still has that very heavy Rhyperior in the active. Be pretty annoying to get out if he doesn't find a switch. Does find an escape route this turn. He also has Aurora Energy and the ADP here, so looks like Alex will be going for that Altered Creation once again on his second turn. So he discards that Mew with the Aurora Energy. Immediately moves the energy onto the ADP here. Keeps the metal energy from his Bronzong onto his stronger Rhyperior here. And we just see the turn end with an Altered Creation. So AC is online, and Alex will be getting ready to attack. Cookie, however, has the Full Metal Wall play ready to go. He has that switch card in hand, so he can erase those energy off Alex's board here. Seems likely that's what he'll go for. However, he still has a whole turn to play first, so he's going to Quick Ball away a Chaotic Swell. Doesn't care to play that Chaotic Swell, the Power Plant has much more value. Switches in to the LucMetal, and you see the Full Metal Wall blowing up those energy. Alex still has one energy on board. Appears he might have a Metal Saucer in hand too. Nope, my mistake, that is a Professor's Research. That will get him 7 new cards, however. We do see a Metal Saucer this time. If we can see an Aurora Energy, we don't see an Aurora Energy. Alex might be having a difficult time launching an attack this turn. The LucMetal's already got all its buffs for the game here. It has the Metal Goggles and the Full Metal Wall buff, meaning it'll be taking 60 less damage from attacks throughout this game. So even after a Ultimate Ray, this LucMetal here will only take 120 damage from that. It'll only be taking 200 from a Zacian here. So it's well and truly safe from being knocked out in one hit by Alex's Pokemon. Alex will want to at least do a decent hit onto this LucMetal here. Cookie always has the option of going for a Malolana play, and after a Ultimate Ray followed by Malolana, it'll be like the damage never happened, as the LucMetal with 30 damage on it still isn't in one-shot range of anything Alex can do here. So we do see that Zacian come down. There is a switch in Alex's hand, so he can move that to the active. His problem, however, is getting that third metal energy into play, so he's hoping the Crobat delivers. You see Aurora Energies. We'll attach one of them to the active, only to move it, I imagine. No, he's going with the ADP attack here. He's placed some importance in getting energy onto his Pokemon here. So we'll see that Ultimate Ray hit for 150, and Alex will be able to search his deck and power up another attacker. Almost immediately he places those energy onto the Zacian. So he has a Brave Blade user on deck, ready to go. However, that's an awkward damage number he's done to Cookie. Cookie will be able to heal that off if he finds the Mallow Lana, and he has found the Mallow Lana with his tag call. However, Cookie doesn't really have much going on in the way of backup attackers. And he seems to realise this, as he's gone for the Guzmahala once again. I think he'll be going perhaps for another capture energy and another tool card. So these don't progress his board state too much. The energy's certainly nice, but he doesn't really have a stadium to grab, and he doesn't really have a way to get more cards next turn, so Cookie's really slowing down here in this game too. So your Cape of Toughness come down along with the Coding Energy. And I think we would just see an Intrepid Sword. No, we see a Steel Fist for 50. So Cookie once again is leaning into setting up the 3 prizer for a Brave Blade knockout. Alex also has a second ADP on the bench, meaning Cookie might only be 3 attacks away from winning this game. He'd need a lot to go his way to finish the game that quickly, obviously. Especially now as that Zacian's coming into the active, ready to swing into this LucMetal here. So we see a 4 prize play here from Alex, knocking that LucMetal out with his Zacian. We'll only need 1 more knockout to close out this game. However, it might not be terribly easy to do that. That Zacian has a lot of hit points, is buffed by the Full Metal Wall. So any damage that isn't enough can just be healed off by the Mallow Lana. This Marty play, however, from Alex is very good here. It's sort of shrunk Cookie's hand here. Cookie has less outs to something like a Mallow Lana in the following turns. We do see that tag haul, however, so he's drawn into an out to healing next turn. And Alex is going to be swinging with that ADP for 180, full 180 here. Alex doing a little housekeeping, making sure the energy are in the right place. That Bronzong can go down any turn. It's always a target, so you never want to leave those energy in the wrong place because they just may get stuck there. We do see the ultimate ray for 180. Pardon, 150. It was boosted to 180 by the ultimate creation and reduced by 30 by the Full Metal Wall. I think we'll be seeing most of that damage get taken away here by this Mallow Lana. Cookie also has a Doll, so discards those 2 Zamazenta to be prime discard targets, as he'll never need those in this match. Mallow Lana's into the Doll, flushes the Doll to the bottom, and once again we see a Brave Blade. $230 damage come down on that ADP here. Alex still only 2 prizes from a win, however. His own Zacian can do as much as 230 damage to Cookie's Zacian here. $230 damage would leave the Zacian with 10 health left after the Cape of Toughness is taken into account. And as Alex doesn't run tool removal, it'll at least be another turn before he can try to take game 2 here. See Professor's research from Alex. Takes 7 fresh cards. See yet another Aurora Energy come down, discarding that useless Empoleon V. And I think we just see another Ultimate Ray. The damage is beginning to pile up, and Cookie on his turn immediately plays a supporter. And we see a concession from Cookie here. He realized that he absolutely needs to attack this turn, but his only powered up attacker is a severely damaged Zacian V. So I think he saw the writing on the wall. It was pretty much checkmate at this point. Alex had so many attackers powered up. He had that Bronzong online that was able to move the energy around however he wanted. There was really no way of him to really prolong this game much longer. And I think he just wanted to save himself some time for a game 3. This game 3 is very important. Both of these players are at 2-1 right now. And in order to make top 4, you most likely need a 3-1-1 or better record after the 5 Swiss rounds. So the winner here will go to 3-1. And most likely just get to ID their round 5. The loser, however, will go to 2-2 and will have a really hard time making top 4. They'll have to win and hope that the other results that round go their way. Alex starts Mew here. You really don't want to see that Mew. We have seen some cool plays with the Psi Power Mew in previous rounds, however, Mew is virtually useless here. It can't put the damage counters onto Pokemon with the metal goggles. And that 60 hit points it's enough to take a Steel Fist from the LucMetal at least. However, that's just pretty much a free prize for Cookie whenever he wants it. I'd really much rather start something like Zacian or ADP or even Bronzong. Cookie going first in this round 3 matchup. Gets Zacian V on board, attaches energy, plays down Power Plant, goes for Intrepid Sword. He even finds an energy off that Intrepid Sword, so not a bad turn 1. Only lasted about 10 seconds, but immediately he's getting himself set up here. Alex won't have access to Dead A Change or the Mewtwo Mew attack. Alex, though, starting hand has a Bronzong and a Bronzor, so immediately he puts a stage 1 Pokemon into play on his first turn. It's always nice to be able to do that. Just cheating out your evolution Pokemon with their abilities that don't follow the regular rules of Pokemon. Any other Bronzor and Alex would have had to wait a turn. So Alex here, if he finds the right combination of cards, could get into an altered creation here. He would need Metal Saucer, Metal Energy, a switching card, and an Aurora Energy, but looks like he has the Aurora Energy right now. He also has an escape rope, so I think he's taking a risk here with this play, but if it pays off, he'll really have Cookie on the back foot. Aurora Energy comes down, he discards the Marnie. And we see a Metal Energy and a Metal Saucer, so if he finds a way to discard one of these Metal Energy, I think he might have to... if he still wants this, he's going to have to throw away some pretty valuable cards here with that Professor's Research. He has 2 Boss in hand, one of his Metal Saucer. I think he might just want to pass here. I think he's throwing away too much just to get kind of a minor advantage. So he throws away 2 boss and a metal saucer. It's fine to throw away those energy, but that hurts. If he misses it now, he'll be really upset about that. These 7 cards come down. It's not looking good. He can't play the Dene thanks to that power plant. It would be silly of him to try. You do see the Zacian come down, but Alex has risked a lot and gotten pretty much nothing for it. So he'll have a hard time chasing down Pokemon in this end game if the game goes much longer. He still has boss in hand, however, so repeatedly using it will be another thing, however, and Cookie can look to capitalize on that by getting those mellow liner plays going quite often. So we see a Marnie. Alex's big hand will be going to the bottom of the deck. He'll be getting 4 new cards. Cookie gets a doll into play. And after a full metal wall, Alex will be left with no energy. Instead, however, Cookie has gone for the Steel Fist. After a Marnie, I think Alex might... after a full metal wall, I think Alex would have had a very hard time getting into the Altered Creation this turn, especially after a Marnie. However, with that metal energy in hand, Alex has that option for this turn, so... If Cookie had just gone for that full metal wall here, he would have started to really buy himself some time, so... He still has that option for this turn, and it'll discard 2 energy instead of 1, but he really could have put Alex on the back foot here had he just gone a turn early and not tried to take too much energy off board. See your Guzmahala coming down. The energy is coming on Cookie's board very thick and fast here. He very nearly has 2 attackers powered up. So we see that Cape of Toughness come down. So if Cookie does choose to go for the full metal wall this turn and leave Alex with no energy, that Zacian will be safe from any attack. And Alex will be forced to play quite a few Metal Saucer to really get those attacks rolling once again. Alex's turn once again, and his hand looks dreadful. He has 3 Pokemon and a full bench, so he'll just be Intrepid Sorting for his turn. Intrepid Sword does find him a Metal Saucer, but he's just given Cookie a free turn here, really. Cookie attaches the Coating Metal energy onto that LucMetal here. Cynthia Caitlins throws away that useless Chaotic Swell. He's building quite a hand for himself now. He's got an extra doll to put into play. No harm in putting those dolls into play. Cookie's never going to put enough Pokemon into play where he gets a bench locked. And those dolls don't give up prizes and they can't get locked in the active, so better just to get him out of your hand. See him end this turn with a heavy impact, hitting that ADP for the 150 damage. And once again we see an Intrepid Sword from Alex, so Alex really drawing dead here. And ADP will fall to a heavy impact here. Cookie makes a good read here, I think. This Marnie puts Alex down to a 4-card hand. Although he wasn't really drawing dead, although Alex was drawing dead, a 4-card hand is a lot harder to work with, even if it does kind of have some better cards in it. After this KO from the heavy impact, Cookie's down to 3 prizes, and unless Alex can get something going with a 5-card hand very quickly, this game 3 is going to be over in no time. The air balloon comes down on the Zacian. Still no energy on this board. See metal energy come down, however, now. So Alex finally gets something into play, however, he can't attack with one metal energy. None of his attackers run that cheap. Aside from the Mew, of course, Mew can knock out a Doll, but knocking out a Doll is honestly less than useless. However, neither of Cookie's attackers set up have goggles on them, so Side Power could place 30 damage, but once again, less than useless. So we see the Dene coming down. Alex trying to make something with this situation here. He's just trying to draw into some cards, see what's going on, but his hand looks dead. I think we might be seeing another Intrepid Sword to end this turn. We see a Marnie. Cookie had quite a hand going on, and that hand will go to the bottom and he'll get 4 fresh cards from the top of his deck. They're not great cards, but I don't think Cookie needs them to be great at this point. I'd say he's pretty much set up. He does have that boss too, so certainly has the option to take a knockout with the Zacian V this turn. Alex going through his deck. See the Mewtwo hit the discard pile. See that amazing Rare Zacian hit the hand. It's a real shame that Amazing Rare Zacian can't really play a role in this matchup, as it would be very cool to see that Amazing Blade attack hit for the maximum 330 damage. However, Cookie runs no VMAX Pokemon, so we're not going to see that. Alex ends his turn by retreating into Mew and just going for an Intrepid Sword, just trying to keep that Zacian safe. Cookie now has 2 boss in hand, so if he wants he can target down that Bronzong this turn and save the boss for another turn. Oh, he's going to retreat. If he can take out this Zacian here, it's pretty much all but over. Alex gives a shrug of the shoulders and scoops up his prize cards. So that is round 4. Round 4 is over. Cookie is now on a 3-1 record. So in all likelihood he'll be IDing his way into top 4. Alex will be forced to kind of take the long road here. He'll absolutely have to win his round 5 clash and hope other things go his way. I'll see you guys in top 4.